Hello so guys, today I'm going to show you what you can do to fix your desktop audio on Streamlabs OBS. So first off, what you want to do is you want to go over to here, desktop audio, and you want to make sure that it's actually not muted at all. And now what you can do is you can open like a Chrome tab and open
One on the Philly street, home is where she learned to fight. Classes where we don't repeat, grown kids we don't. You are allowed to rewrite it. Open tabs, margin notes, highlighter, bleed through quotes, research mind, steady eye patterns, only she can note. I 95, whispering under wheels, skyline after glow. 2 states, packed rooms, quiet minds, and no sign needed out front. They circle to a voice, questions rise before she starts, curiosity by choice. She pivots mid-lecture, checks who leaning in close. Say the part you skip out loud, that's where the learning goes. Heads home with the speakers up, Biggie in the background, mind still mapping theories while the city slows down. She teaches the why behind the crime, the hurt behind the face. Philly in the back with psychology and a grace. Don't let the hype fool you. She stands 10 stories tall. She don't just teach the lesson, she teaches you through it all. Late nights with case files, open notes, and the margin glow. She's showing you your story's roots so you could choose where to go. Biggie quotes inside the slides, right next to coping skills. Spread love between the lines of how a nervous system feels. Long days, quiet grit, humor in the punchlines. You want more than this moment, written 10 times. Older assessments in the folder, ink dust on the sleeve. She can map anxious attachment before you know you grieve. 1 foot in Jersey lecture halls, 1 on the Philly street. Home is where she learned to fight. Classes where we don't repeat. Grown kids texting check-ins. Pride she doesn't post. She teaches minds all day, then goes in mother's most. Case files, true crime, mind behind the scenes. She doesn't tell you what they did, she shows you what it means. Your story is not your diagnosis. You are allowed to rewrite it. You are allowed to rewrite it. Open tabs, margin notes, highlight or bleed through quotes. Research minds, steady eye patterns only she can note. I-90 fog, whispering under wheels, skyline, afterglow. 2 states, packed rooms, quiet minds that know no sun needed out front. They circle to a voice, questions rise before she starts. Curiosity by choice, she pivots mid-lecture, checks who's leaning in close. Say the part you skip out loud, that's where the learning goes. Heads home with the speakers up, Biggie in the background. Mind still mapping theories while the city slows down. She teaches the why behind the crime, the hurt behind the face. Philly in her backbone, psychology in her grace. Don't let the hype fool you, she stands 10 stories tall. She don't just teach the lesson, she teaches you through it all. Late nights with case files open, notes in the margin glow. She's showing you your story's roots, so you can choose where to go. Biggie quotes inside the slides, right next to coping skills. Spread love between the lines of how a nervous system feels. Long days, quiet grit, humor in the punchlines. You are more than this moment, written 10 times. Old assessments in a folder, ink dust on the sleeve. She can map anxious attachment before you know you grieve. 1 foot in Jersey lecture halls, 1 on the Philly street. Home is where she learned to fight, classes where we don't repeat. Grown kids texting check-ins, pride she doesn't post. She teaches minds all day, then goes in mother's most. Case files, true crime, mind behind the scenes. She doesn't tell you what they did, she shows you what it means. Your story is not your diagnosis. You are allowed to rewrite it. It means your story is not your diagnosis. Open tabs, margin notes, highlight or bleed through quotes. Research minds, steady eye patterns only she can note. I-90 fog, whispering under wheels, skyline, afterglow. 2 states, packed rooms, quiet minds that know no sign needed out front. They circle to a voice, questions rise before she starts. Curiosity by choice, she pivots mid-lecture, checks who's leaning in close. Say the part you skip out loud, that's where the learning goes. Heads home with the speakers up, Biggie in the background. Mind still mapping theories while the city slows down. She teaches the why behind the crime, the hurt behind the face. Philly in her backbone, psychology in her grace. Don't let the hype fool you, she stands 10 stories tall. She don't just teach the lesson, she teaches you through it all. Late nights with case files open, notes in the margin glow. She's showing you your story's roots, so you can choose where to go. Biggie quotes inside the slides, right next to coping skills. Spread love between the lines of how a nervous system feels. Long days, quiet grit, humor in the punchlines. You are more than this moment, written 10 times. Old assessments in a folder, ink dust on the sleeve. She can map anxious attachment before you know you grieve. 1 foot in Jersey lecture halls, 1 on the Philly street. Home is where she learned to fight, classes where we don't repeat. Grown kids texting check-ins, pride she doesn't post. She teaches minds all day, then goes in mother's most. Case files, true crime, mind behind the scenes. She doesn't tell you what they did, she shows you what it means. Your story is not your diagnosis. You are allowed to rewrite it. Open tabs, margin notes, highlighter, bleed through quotes, research mind, steady eye, patterns only she can note. I-90 fog, whispering under wheels, skyline, afterglow, 2 states, packed rooms, quiet minds that know, no sign needed out front. They circle to her voice, questions rise before she starts, curiosity by choice. She pivots mid-lecture, checks who's leaning in close. Say the part you skip out loud, that's where the learning goes. Heads home with the speakers up, Biggie in the background. Mind still mapping theories while the city slows down. She teaches the why behind the crime, the hurt behind the face, Philly in her backbone, psychology in her grace. Don't let the hype fool you, she stands 10 stories tall. She don't just teach the lesson, she teaches you through it all. Late nights with case files open, notes in the margin glow. She's showing you your story's roots, so you can choose where to go. Biggie quotes inside the slides, right next to coping skills. Spread love between the lines of how a nervous system feels. Long days, quiet grit, humor in the punchlines. You are more than this moment, written 10 times. Old assessments in a folder, ink dust on the sleeve. She can map anxious attachment before you know you breathe. 1 foot in Jersey lecture halls, 1 on the Philly street. Home is where she learned to fight, classes where we don't repeat. Grown kids, texts and check-ins, pride she doesn't post. She teaches minds all day, then goes in mother's most. Case files, true crime, mind behind the scenes. She doesn't tell you what they did, she shows you what it means. Your story is not your diagnosis. You are allowed to rewrite it.
It says I'm live. I heard you. Wait, don't hang up. You heard me? You hear me? Now? Shut the fuck up. I don't think I ever said fuck when lives. That's interesting. Okay, well, that only took 41 minutes. You guys are such amazing individuals. Okay. No, wait, Flojo, you could hear me, right? Oh, I am so glad that you guys were laughing because I was... Fuck yes, we hear you. Woohoo! This is all I did. I put it on my phone. So usually you'll hear like because I added it to my phone. Is there buzzing? I feel the love all the way around too. You can see me and hear me. Shut the F up. Half my face? Better than nothing. But wait, I don't know if you're hearing me or seeing me from here or from here. The sound is still there, but who cares? Oh, no buzzing? Can you still see half of my face or is my face there? Let me ask you a question. Do you see my face? Ooh, I'm showing bubbies. Do you see my face here or do you see my face here? So if you see it here, put a 1. If you see it here, put a 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. The first one. So I'm live from my phone. Oh, so over here? Okay. I don't want to touch anything. The camera over here is probably better too on this one. My friggin' $1,000 iPhone. Getting your profile. What is happening? You guys, what a crazy experience. So I don't know how to use this on my phone, but we're going to figure it out. But I'm not going to touch anything. Nothing. Please, God forbid. Now, I do see your things at the bottom here. That's how I saw that. Oh, and I see the gifted Flojo, Addie, Cuff You. You guys are all freaking so amazing. I can't even stand it. So I'm wondering if I share something on this screen, if we'll see it on this screen. I guess we'll find out. So let me just do anything just to see. Let's see. Do you see? I'm talking to you guys like you can't hear me. Do you guys see the thing on here? Oh my God, you're freaking awesome. No, you don't see the stuff on the screen. F a duck, you guys. I usually say F a duck. So, let's do, please note that each scene can only be used in the orientation you created. All right, I'm afraid, but let's see what happens. I want to show you guys something on here. So wait, let's see. Streaming settings, I don't even want to touch this. Screen capture settings, that's what I want. I still can't believe that I can't get it to work on my computer. I have no idea what I did. No idea. But it says everything's working on my phone, so that's good, right? So, sorry I'm putting my finger in your face. I'm trying to switch it to where you guys could see. All right, I am multi-streaming. No, I didn't share anything. Oh, wait, here we go. Hold on. I have an idea. This, my guys, is so... Is it sideways? Should I do it this way? Was it sideways when I did it the other way? Let me know. Because I have an idea. The only thing that I really want you guys to see was that chart and stuff. So if maybe I could like prop this up. So wait, you see you from the phone because I watched you point at your computer screen. Oh, thank you. Sorry, I'm going all over the place real quick. I need a gummy. All right, so is it sideways if I do this, or is it still like up and down? I just want to get the best that I can. It's straight now. I think that was the other way. Okay, you know what I could do then? You guys, you just have to be 10% smarter. Sideways. So sideways is good? Okay, then sideways it is. We got this, you guys. Ready? I am a teacher, and I am prepared for anything. Hold on, I'm just trying to see where I could put it to where I'm not, like, not shaking my hand, shaking the thing. Wait, hold on. We'll put it, move this back. I'm working with a tray table. Wait, hold on, you're going to see my computer for 1 sec. I do apologize. I'm just trying to set it up to where I'm not like holding it the whole time, because then it might be like a little shaky. Oh wait, if I could do it like this, we're getting there. I don't know what the hell you guys could see right now, but if I do it this way, I don't even have to do that. Wait, what are you saying? Sideways? It's sideways. Oh my God, that's what I was asking. I thought you guys were saying do it sideways. This is actually easier to do it this way anyway. So, all right, we're not sideways anymore. You guys can hear me. I do definitely, I apologize about the screw-ups. What the actual F? I can't believe any of that just happened. But as long as you guys could hear me, you probably can't see me right now. And that's okay. Oh, you could see me up here, I guess. Can you see that? Let me see. Oh, there we go. I can make that bigger. See, this is going to work out, you guys. Watch. Share my screen. I wanted to share. See, how is that still up? Oh, I'm going to X out of this because this is Streamlabs. I don't know if this was anything that was doing any of the things. All right, where is my... I'm looking for my chat GPT thing. I must have X'd it out. So hold on, give me 1 sec. I have to pull it up. Where are you, chat GPT? Oh, wait, hold on. I don't want it to show, like, my daughter's stuff. My daughters all use chat GPT. No, we are not... Why does that... Everything wants to update. Oh, look, this is all my mess, you guys. This is what I work with. Okay? All in the corner. There goes the dog over there sleeping. The other one's sleeping. Little bums that they are. Okay, let's see. I'm just showing you the dogs while I pull up my thing. All right, Epstein Maxwell deep dive. Here we go. Oh, where's the thing it had? Oh, here it is. It's coming. Okay. Oh my God, stay. trying to get it perfect, but nothing is ever perfect, so let's just do the best that we can. Stop moving. All right, there we go. This is literally an exercise in patience. Oh my God. There's not a fan next to the mic. That's the thing. There's no fan. It's the computer. Maybe it's the computer fan. Maybe you just solved it. Maybe that's it, you guys. Maybe it's the computer fan. And I just have so much open. I'm going to pull this out a little. I know you can't see the whole. It's up really close. I'm going to. Let's see. Oh my God, I have so much information, you guys. Wait till you see. I was like so excited to show this. All right, let me go down to that one thing. So you can upload like 10 things at a time. So I've been uploading, oh, you guys could see, I'm not even gonna touch it. Okay, I've been uploading the different documents so that I could ask ChatGPT if it can help me put things together so that I can like show you guys da-da-da-da-da. So this is where we got it to, and I'm just gonna go over this. I don't know, maybe I should have just did this on a different night. But now I can't really see what, oh, I guess I could pull, no, see, I'm afraid to do any of that. Let me see if I pull that up on the side. I'm gonna see if I could pull up our chat on the side and then I could just move this. Yeah. There we go, that might actually work out better because it then makes that a little bit smaller. Okay, so that way I could see you guys. I definitely could see your chat now, so that's good. Which is weird because the chat here is way different than it was before, which makes me wonder. I definitely touched something. I think this all happened with the whole fan thing or the sound of the potato. I think that's when it all started. Oh, Addie, you have to do Discord. Okay, so my computer fan just went off. Did it help at all? It's like very, 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 very like light, but it's not going like like it was when I had, did you just like my sound effect? When I had the other one on. It's so funny how, not funny, ironic how, oh wait, why is this there? Oh, there we go. All right, now I could just see you guys. Perfect. All right. All right, so yes, it helped. All right, well, here we go. Let's just do the thing. So when I was looking at, and again, I'm going to have to do this like a different time where maybe I'll just set it up a little bit different so that you all can get the whole idea. Because I really, when I tell you, I spent days on this. So I would hate to just like, God only knows how many people we lost in that whole thing. For those of you that stayed, I promise you, I will never forget that you guys were here. I won't. I will always remember it. Okay, so let's go over this. The birthing setting. So I think that birth is, well, actually, I think conception is where it starts. And what I mean by that is, I'm not trying to be like, oh, conception's where it starts like that. However, for the 40 weeks that we're pregnant, so much occurs during those 40 weeks that I don't think we really realize how much of it sets us up or doesn't for life going forward. So, for example, depending on how much you weigh at birth, depending on how early, if you were born early, were you born on time? Even things like genetics. Did you get, the gene for schizophrenia for mom? Or did you get dad's cancer gene? Or even a gene for being like, outgoing, stuff like that. So at birth, a lot of your future is set up for you in the sense. I don't know how to get this off. I don't know if you guys could see. It says Flojo and stuff on the side. I don't know how to get that off. So I'll make sure I scroll up. Don't worry. So here, the birth setting. Let me go over the birth setting. So Epstein was born in Brooklyn, repeatedly described as middle-class upbringing, which is interesting because he strives for everything but, right? All he wants to do is be of the upper class. That's what he thinks is valuable. For Maxwell, she was born in Mason's Lafayette, France, per court filing, and she was the youngest of 9. Let me tell you why this is important. Well, they're going to tell you in the next one, family structure. I don't even have to go offline here. So for Epstein, we have 2-child household. That's what's been reported. The parents emphasized education as mobility. So let me tell you what that means. Upward mobility in this sense, when you can have a doctorate degree, this is like real talk, you could have a doctorate degree like I do and be born and raised in inner city Philadelphia and therefore graduate with your doctorate degree and still not know all the people that you need to know to go to where you're trying to go. So upward mobility is when you start to get you start to network, and you use those networks to advance your social mobility. Social mobility not meaning to hang out with the people that are cool or whatever, upper scale. It's literally social mobility meaning social class. So here, that was a big thing that was part of Epstein's childhood. For Maxwell, there was a large sibling set. A sibling had leukemia, okay, and death before her birth. The brother's catastrophic injuries days after birth. So let me tell you what I found here, you guys, and I did not know this. I've watched multiple things on Googling over the years, and I don't ever remember seeing this. And this right here is probably the most important thing that I think I found in my research, and I'll tell you why. I'm always talking about identity development, but everything starts with attachment. So whether you have a clear attachment to mom or dad, you need a clear attachment. We've talked about attachment before, so I won't go too into it. But think about this. Before she's born, she already has a sibling that dies of leukemia. We talk about something called a replacement baby, and that's when you have a child. Let's say somebody has a miscarriage, but let's say they go, almost full term, and then they have a miscarriage. This happened with my mom. My mom was 7 months pregnant, and she said she went to the doctors, and they were like, oh, we're sorry, we don't hear a heartbeat. And she was like, wait, what? Long story short, it wasn't, I don't know what it's called, but it was a pregnancy where it did have a heartbeat it wasn't a full-blown fetus. I can't even explain it. But anyway, the point is she lost the pregnancy and then got pregnant with me. And that explains so much of the dysfunction in my life once I realized that, because I realized I was a replacement baby. Every single minute of the day, she was praying to Mary and Saint Teresa and this, that, and the other to, and if I just have this one, if you let me have her and everything's okay, or him, whatever, but if you let me have this baby and everything's okay, da-da-da-da-da. And sure enough, I've always been my mom's favorite, but in a dysfunctional way, not in a way that people would envy, if that makes sense. I also think there's also narcissistic personality and, things like that, and that definitely played a role. But the replacement baby thing, it's a real thing. So the next thing that I see here too with that is that, and this is even more than the replacement baby, the fact that her oldest brother, had a catastrophic injury days after her birth. So 2 days after she was born, her oldest brother, he dies, you guys. He dies. So, he doesn't die right away. He lives for 7 years on a ventilator and stuff like that. And then at 7, so when she's 7 years old, they finally, I hate to say pull the plug, but they finally make the decision to let him pass if that is his destiny type thing. And he does. He passes. So with that being said, you guys have to remember the first 5 years of life, actually the first 6 years of life. I say 5, but it's till you're at the end of your 5th birthday type thing, so it's really 6. But for those first years of your life, you're building or not your attachments to your primary caregivers. I can't imagine that 2 days after her birth, her mother gets, and father, but her mother gets this phone call or visit at the door. I don't know how she was alerted, but that her oldest son was in this horrible accident. And, she goes to the hospital and they don't expect him to live. He winds up living on life support. But we all know how that could be. I don't know if he was like not responsive or anything. So I would love to look into that more. But that just goes to show me that, the one thing I always talk about that we can't get over is the death of a child. So losing a child 2 days after one of your babies is born is going to stop that. Oh wait, I saw them YouTube bad actor in the thing. One is of me or something. It popped up on my cell phone as I'm talking and I laughed. Thank you so much. I do appreciate you. If anybody wants to make any of them, I'd love it. So when it comes to attachment, you guys, we have to have that attachment. If we don't have that attachment to a primary caregiver in the first few years of our life, what makes you think that when you get older, you're going to have an attachment that's healthy with other people? You can with, a lot of therapy and stuff, but just keep this in mind because I think that this is going to come up multiple times throughout her development. Okay, so let's move on to socioeconomic status. So he was middle class. Father worked for City Parks Department. So the City Parks Department, that was Jeffrey's dad. Doesn't say anything about the moms, so I don't know if, back then it wasn't abnormal for women to stay at home, so I'm not sure if they were stay-at-home moms. I just started researching this a few days ago, and there's just so much information that I'm just adding to it as I go. So for Ghislaine was an affluent, powerful family with wealth and public prominence. So privilege emphasized by prosecutors. Okay, so what does that mean? If you scroll over on the 17, it brings you to the resource, and it's a courthouse thing. So like it tells you all about it if you go on there and you click on it. It's courthousenews.com, but it shows you where all the information is coming from. And you guys, I went through and read every single one of these resources. There's one that is so good. It's on attachment theory. I won't go to it now, but it's so good. All right, so early talents or roles. This is interesting. So Epstein played the piano from early childhood. He had a strong math, tutoring as a pathway to opportunity. This is interesting. I don't know if you guys know this, but introducing music into a child's life, what has been found in the research is that not only is it helpful, but it's been found that it runs parallel with your intelligence. So the better or the more advanced you get at that talent, in this case, piano, we see that same thing. So as one goes, a positive correlation is what I'm saying between playing an instrument and your academic ability. So I'm wondering how much this piano trading might have helped with that. So then also tutoring is a pathway to opportunity. This is interesting because that's that upward social mobility that most people, from lower socioeconomic statuses don't have. So that could be the difference where, his middle income family upbringing might come in to help him a little bit. So wait, who just said that? Who said that you're single and have... Wait, let me see, because I have to... Diane says, I'm single and don't have an attachment to anyone because those people I was with have passed. So Diane, this isn't necessarily, and I'm glad you said that because other people are also probably thinking the same thing. It's about the attachments, so not necessarily a friend or a family member from today. It's about your attachments growing up more so, right? And I am sorry to hear that too, Diane. And let me tell you, Diane, you have a bunch of friends over here. So, I know that it's like a parasocial thing because we're not down the street from each other. but I don't think I've met anybody here that has given me a red flag type thing but that also could be, that might not be saying much because I have empathy for everyone, so I don't know. But you guys know what I mean. But Diane, I think that I'm glad that you're here, and I hope that we can help you a little bit with that. And you can I was abused and was never attached to either parent because I was watched by an aunt and her daughters. Oh my God. And they too were more of my family. Oh, Diane, that sucks. I'm so sorry. Diane, you don't have to answer this because this is like none of our business. But if you feel comfortable answering it, do you feel like because you didn't have an attachment to either parent that you had a harder time creating attachments as you got older? And again, you don't have to answer that. If you don't want to answer it, just don't answer it. Just move on to the next thing. But just out of curiosity, because that's what I was saying here too. All right, let's see. So Diane says, I just looked at it. Yeah, YouTube, thank you for telling me that. I had no attachment, not to parents. Yeah, I saw that after. I'm sorry. I was passed to those people who passed. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. So, yeah, I'm curious to see. I'm sure that lack of attachment with your primary caregiver probably did not set you up for success throughout life as far as, with friends. It doesn't mean that you didn't have friends, but just meaning that as far as trust and thinking that people are going to stick around and stuff like that, they're the things that wind up suffering when we don't have an attachment with our kids. So I am really sorry to hear that, and I hope, we can help you here. Let's see. We have, no, but I never had attachments a long time. So Diane, and a wise woman's in the same situation. So Diane, I would say that you just validated what I said. So although you said no, but I never had attachments for a long time, shows that you had an affected attachment style. That is an affected attachment style. So the fact that the attachments didn't last a long time is where that's coming in from when I mean, do you feel like it was hard for you to have attachments? So you might have them, but like you said, they didn't last a very long time. And that can actually be directly correlated back to, then I quit all attachment. I have no trust. See, you guys? See? Diane, so you guys, that just shows you right there what happens. And I would say, Diane, if I had to guess, I don't know if you were on the night that we took the adult attachment quiz. I'm really good at understanding people though. And I have a feeling that this would be a disorganized attachment. So disorganized attachment, meaning that to other people, you might appear to be very independent, like you have your head on your shoulders, all the things, and you want love and you want to be loved, but you're afraid of love. So you might self-sabotage some of those relationships before they're able to sabotage you type thing. It's kind of like, let me get them before they can get me. And that's really a shame, right? Because we can, so you two bad actors asked about the aunt and the sisters. Even if the aunt and the sisters were a delight, it still has an effect because not everybody, but people want their primary caretaker. So not only when that person's not there, but the person's being abusive, that it makes you not see the aunt as the attachment figure. So again, even if the aunt was the best attachment, even if it was me, I have love for everyone. The kid might close me off in the sense of not seeing me as that secure base, maybe in fear that what happens if I become abusive or if I leave type thing. So, I mean, this just messes with people for their whole lives. It just sucks. Oh, look, we have somebody on Twitch. Look at that. Hey, Twitch. All right, let's see. A wise woman says, so like certain people very intensely, I've had a hard time with casual attachments. Intense attachments don't last very long. A wise woman, let me tell you why. The reason I skipped over yours and came back to it is because this is so important. One of the things that we see with this is that although you feel like you form attachments and those attachments don't last long, it's actually because a lot of the times intensity gets mistaken for love and affection, stuff like that. So I don't want anyone to be close. And that's the whole thing. So I would almost guarantee that you have a disorganized attachment, and that's directly correlated to the mom and dad thing. So if anybody else watching this has something similar, the good news is there are things that can be worked on. The bad news is, depending on your age and stuff like that, like at, 70, maybe, you might be like, you know what, I like the way I am, right? Like, I like not having people too close, Well, then to each their own. But if you would like to have that, where you have a closeness with someone, it is so worth getting some form of therapy or even looking online at the different things on the adult attachment. Let's see. I heard that as a child, we are literally in a hypnotic mental state, absorbing everything, and we carry that. So, you two bad actors, that's so interesting. And what about entitled kids that are raised by nannies? This is so interesting. So this is the thing, you guys. Even if you have nannies, right? And I'm going right back to you two bad actors. It's all going to go into one. So even if you have nannies, you most certainly form an attachment to your nanny. The thing that's seen in the research that is so interesting is that even in these situations, after a certain amount of time, the kid yearns for their primary caretaker. So even though the nanny's there, and when looking at attachment issues, the amount of time spent at daycare was one of the correlations. So, daycare isn't necessarily bad for kids. Are they at daycare from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and go to bed at 7 p.m. type thing and wake up at 6, you know what I mean? So are they spending time with that primary caretaker? And then it's about being in a hypnotic state. We're not in a hypnotic state, but I know what you mean by that, I think. We are sponges at that time. At birth, your brain's 25% developed. By the end of your 5th birthday, your brain's 90% developed, and it only develops by another 10% until you're 25. So most of your brain development occurs when you're younger. So in those formative years, 1,000% we're like sponges. And that's why like a little 5-year-old will go to, kindergarten and you get a phone call. Like, your kid said, oh shit, when they drop something, and you're thinking in your head like, oh God, I do that all the time. Well, that's why they picked up on it. But it also shows us what we call the mirror neuron system. So we all have a mirror neuron system, and that's what helps us to learn how to do things without always being taught. So what do I mean by that? Think of like when you first learn how to drive a car. Whoever was teaching you was probably like, this is the gas, this is the brake, this is the wheel, turn right. And you were like, I know. And okay, well, how did you know? Because you watch other people. So as human beings, we have this amazing phenomenon that we're able to pick up on what other people do by watching and learning. Where, as opposed to, let's say you're a polar bear, and, it may take several generations or thousands of years for you to get an extra layer of coating to keep yourself warm. Whereas as human beings, we can watch our dad skin a bear or whatever and use all of its parts for shelter, food, and I'm going back in more primitive times. But the point being is that just by watching our father, we could try it ourselves. We call it the monkey see, monkey do, if you ever heard of that. And it was found in a lab in Parma, Italy. They were doing a research study where the researcher was cleaning up the peanuts and we study chimpanzees because we share 98.5% of our DNA with chimpanzees. So they're perfect to study related to human populations. what they found was the researcher forgot to turn the electrodes off when the monkey and was cleaning up. And when the researcher went to touch the peanut, the monkey's brain reacted. So then the researcher pulled away and it stopped and then did it again and it reacted. And then here what was happening was the monkey's brain was reacting as if the monkey was picking up the peanut. It was getting excited. It wanted the peanut. It was as if it was theirs, right? So, and a way that you could think about this in your own life, if you watch the Super Bowl, for example, you might be like, oh, you missed that. And it feels like you missed it personally. And it's not that. It's your mirror neuron system. So it's also a way that we engage with other people with empathy and things like that. You saw the video of the moms and babies smiling at each other. That's cute. Right? Okay, so the next thing we have over here is, I did early town, so we have school. So verified by inaccessible sources. So for Epstein, it was in Vanity Fair is where I got it. And for Ghislaine, we got it from itv.com. So this says that Epstein attended Lafayette High School, later studied at Cooper Union and New York University without a degree. However, he taught at Dalton School in his early 20s. That is bananas. That means that he had to convince somebody. That reminds me of Catch Me If You Can, where he was a bunch of different people but didn't have the education. He just kind of acted out the roles. That's kind of what this reminds me of. How can you teach? Isn't that a college or a university? You can't do that. He never even got a bachelor's degree. He didn't graduate at all. But think about the type of person that you have to be to pull off something like that, especially for so long, that you were able to make other connections that you were able to utilize once you had to leave this type of position. So it's just amazing. He's obviously smart, but he also, in my opinion, allegedly, whatever, I'm not diagnosing, but I also see a lot of narcissistic and antisocial behavior with Jeffrey Epstein, and sadistic behavior. So here we have, for Ghislaine, attended Marlborough College and Balliol College, boarding school theme emphasized. Precise early school sequence not verified here via record. So let me tell you what I read. I read from the research that I found that, okay, so her brother gets into that car accident or whatever the accident was 2 days after she's born. He then lives on life support until she's 7, where he dies. What I found was that when Ghislaine was very young, her parents sent her off to a boarding school. I can't remember at what age it was exactly, but she was in elementary school, and they said that you just didn't see many kids in elementary school that went to a boarding school. It was seen as somewhat normal for people with stature and power and money for the teens to go to boarding school, but for elementary students, it was not a common thing, and she went to a boarding school. So I don't know how much of that was because mom and dad, or mom was checked out, whatever. I mean, it might have worked out for her benefit in the fact that the alternative could have been her at home watching mom, and people, this happens where, mom might get depressed and cry and stuff, but who knows? I don't know. I don't know what her life would have been like. No, you know what I would say? I would say that it's probably always better to stay with the primary caretaker, unless, of course, there's abuse or neglect going on. So I'm not exactly sure how that went in her house. And I actually think that from what I've seen, she was a favorite of her dad. So apparently when he died, he was in the process of having her take over certain things as far as business wise. So that's interesting. Then for key adverse events in childhood, for Jeffrey, we have no consistent, well-supported childhood abuse or trauma allegations located in reviewed sources. So we found no trauma as far as, or I found no trauma as far as this stuff. But then for Ghislaine, we have multiple stressors alleged. So parental absence, coercive control, physical abuse, at the hammer incident. Oh my God. You guys. Oh, and then the hit list claim. Apparently there was a claim before that she was on another like prominent person's hit list, like for real hit list. But it says here that there was a lower confidence level for that. So I wrote it here, but I didn't want to give it too much attention. However, the hammer incident happened. So apparently her dad hits her hand like repeatedly with a hammer this one time. And wait, let me see if it tells us again real quick. It was crazy when I was reading it. You know what? I don't even want to mess it up. We'll just stay there. I'll make sure that I get more about the hammer incident, but that was a big one. So whether he hit her in the hand once with a hammer or 5 times with a hammer, getting hit in the hand with a hammer just cannot feel good, right? So that is 100% abusive. And then for peer relationships, for Jeffrey Epstein, we have anecdotal reports of being sweet, nicknamed Epi. His nickname was Epi. And he had at least one teenage sweetheart. Okay? So this is the thing. It wasn't that he couldn't get women. We're not talking about like an incel or anything here, right? And I think if anything, you see with Jeffrey Epstein that he has that type of personality that a lot of people find is charming. And when we have that, it makes it that much harder because people find you charming. Hold on, I have to let Thor out or he's just going to bark and leave everybody up. Hold on, Thor. Come on, hurry up. And my phone's almost dead, so I'm grabbing my charger. Okay, I have my charger so that we know. My thing was down to like 8%. Let me plug us in. Hopefully people are finding this information interesting as I do. Because we all know I do. Come on, phone. Oops, sorry. I just dropped you guys. Here we go. Okay, we are charging. All right. Now I just have to set us back up. That was my daughter's birthday. That's why we have that. I'm wiping off the lens just to make sure we're good. And let's set us back up. But now I have to figure out a different way because I did that. So maybe if I turn us upside down, we could do it this way. This is so... Oh no, that's not gonna work. I have an idea. I'm so resourceful. This is what happens when you grow up poor. You become very resourceful and you figure out how to do these things. So we're just going to figure it out real quick. I'm going to use this. Don't allow. All right, watch this. Because I don't want to touch it. Come on. I don't want to touch it because... And I also don't want... So what I did was I put you guys on a tripod. So let's see if I can get it to where... Ooh, to where you don't fall and break everything. Oh my gosh, that was crazy. I don't even know why that just happened. Oh, maybe because I have it backwards. So that I could see what you are looking at. All right, This is going to have to work. If not, I don't know what to tell us. If not, we're just shit out of luck. Oh, let me move this up a little bit, or back. And then what if I get this and lower this? This might help. Oh, you guys, what a day. All right, so that might help. Because I really only want to use this as a tripod. And I will get it set up to where we could see it. Let me push my table back. Thank you guys for being so cool. All of you. I appreciate you all. Oh my God, if you guys could see this, you would laugh your ass off. This is like the most ghetto fabulous thing. But it's so up my alley. All right, now I have to figure out. Oh, this is a mess. Let's see. Let's lower this. That works. See, I'm figuring it out. There's nothing I can't figure out if I just think about it a little bit. Okay, so hopefully everybody still hears me. I'm trying to do it to where you can see it. I feel like this is, oh my God, I just kicked it. Are you kidding me? Oh, here we go. So, and I'll tell you, on the side right here is where it says like relationships and stuff. This part's really the most important. So I'll keep it like this so you could see it. But I want to make sure you guys see everything. This sucks. This sucks, you guys. Okay, let's try that. All right, let's just do it. Let's just do the thing. Now I have to try and say it. Okay, so we have, okay, so there was no abuse. Okay, so we saw, okay, so we did the thing about the hammer. So peer relationships. We saw that he had a girlfriend, and for her, peer relationship data largely absent and primary materials reviewed. Family letters in defense filing portrays enduring friendships, but they are advocacy based. That just says to me that she didn't have natural friendships. So that would be like, like when you go to school and you meet new friends and things like that. She did not have that. So that's interesting to me. The friends that she did have were only the ones that like she lived with and stuff like that, right? So it were those things. Next we have mentors and role models. So for Jeffrey Epstein, we have the elite network mentorship. This is huge. This is where his social mobility comes into play. This is how I believe he winds up, not from this guy particularly, but the fact that he used his upward mobility. Oh, that's a little better. The fact that he used upward mobility at all just shows that he was intelligent in that sense. So he used an elite network. So he went to people like Alan Greenberg and James Cain, and then described them as mentors. So Dalton up here, he taught at that Dalton school. That was a bridge to high status networks. So he was smart in the sense that he knew to become friendly with people that could help him or give him something that he's looking for, if you will. So that is where, he's smart. I'll give him that part. Then we have, for Ghislaine, father framed as dominant, North Star, and control figure. Later vulnerability narrative emphasized susceptibility to powerful men. So this just shows that because of her relationship with her dad, from the things that I was reading, and again, this is just alleged and things that I'm connecting, that her father was definitely dominant. Like that's like an understatement, if you will. But he was definitely dominant. And we're going to see that, in my opinion, her relationship with her dad is literally, there's a direct correlation between that and Epstein. So we'll see that. Then we have, what do we have here? Strength of evidence. So stronger on broad socioeconomic status and education for Epstein. Career pivots. thinner on clinical development and microdata, and then for her, richer detail in court filings, but heavily adversarial. Wealthy, privileged, broadly supported, abuse claims contested, and uncorroborated. With that being said, let me show this. Let's see if you can even see this. All right, hold on. How do we spell Ghislaine again? Hold on, I have to look over here. It's spelled weird. I don't want to say weird, that's not nice. All right, how about if I put in, I know how to do this. I got this. Epstein and Ghislaine, there we go. Came up. So in that was her court filing. She just the entire time, she winds up taking the Fifth Amendment. Oh, that's interesting. I never saw that one. You guys, look at this picture. What's that saying? A picture says 1,000 words. Look at her face. She is so into him in this picture. And I am not catching that same vibe the other way around. Do you guys see what I'm saying? Like, I know that I'm... Oh my God, that was crazy. All right, let's see. So over here we have Law and Crime did a thing. That's not the one that I was looking for. Is this it?
Republican and Democratic officials are outraged.
Oh no, it's all her thing. That's not what I'm looking for. Maxwell. Maybe if I put in Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Maybe it was thinking I meant the trial. New footage of Ghislaine.
Did you ever hire someone that was under the age of 18? Yes.
Hidden in the hundreds of videos in the latest release of the Epstein files was footage of Jeffrey Epstein's most notorious accomplice and the only person alive who knows the true extent of his crimes, Ghislaine Maxwell. These clips are from Maxwell's 2016 deposition, part of a civil case brought by Virginia Joffreyphile, who accused Maxwell and Epstein of running a sex trafficking operation that abused her when she was a minor. Ghislaine is back in the news this week after refusing to answer questions during the closed-door congressional deposition.
Oh, wow.
I would like to answer your question, but on the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer this question and any related questions.
Maxwell is a skeleton key to understanding Epstein's world. In these clips from 10 years ago, you can learn so much from how she behaves on camera.
Oh, well, this is interesting because this is what happens with Jeffrey, too, right? We have these videos of him from deposition. Oh, this is so interesting. I'm curious to see what she said then because maybe she doesn't evoke her Fifth Amendment right.
The evasions, the hesitations, the way she dodges repeated questions about the girls' ages.
I had no idea how old she was when she was in the house. I had no idea how old she was. She was with her mother.
Can you list for me all the...
Ew, she was with her mother. That right there is horrible. So what she was saying there is, that's not my fault. That's her mother's fault. Her mother should have known better. That's what that just said to me, allegedly, in my opinion.
The girls that you have met and brought to Jeffrey Epstein's house that were under the age of 18?
I could not make a list of anyone else because that never happened.
Watch the newly released clips from this deposition at thefp.com.
Wow, she said because that never happened.
This is the fourth and final part.
Wow.
Grab a cool...
All right, hold on, let's go back to...
target use.
Ooh. Her eyebrows were good. All right, let's see. No, why is it all about her deposition? I don't care about that. Oh, here goes his deposition. We're not going to watch it, but just to show you that same thing where you see his personality in it.
Would you raise your hand, please? Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the matter now pending shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am. Would you please state your full name?
Jeffrey Edward Epstein, and my residence address is 6100 Red Hook Boulevard in Virgin Islands.
Have you ever been convicted of a crime?
Yes.
The Six Crimes of Millionaire Financier.
That's this is from 60 Minutes Australia, so I'm afraid to stay on this one. I just realized it was like a 60-minute show, and I don't know, do they like copyright strike you? Oh, did you guys see this one?
For years, the Epstein scandal raised questions about power and accountability. Now, a sweeping release of Justice Department records is raising them again, this time about former Prince Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, and newly released records referencing continued contact after Epstein's conviction. And this, as the Thames Valley Police confirmed, they are assessing a complaint over the possible sharing of confidential trade information with Jeffrey Epstein. We are breaking down what the documents show, how the royal connection evolved, and why the scrutiny is escalating now. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jeff. So,
Law and Crime.
Those TikToks can get you viral. Named Shadow, then former Prince Andrew, the brother of the king. That is what we want to focus on right now, because there is so much talk about Andrew and what came out and the fallout of the royal family that we thought, let's make sense of it all, right? Because you hear a lot about it, it's confusing. And with this sweeping release of documents, which we have been dissecting almost every day, thousands of pages of emails, photographs, internal communications, all now in public view, it raises a lot of questions, and we are seeing the fallout. But here's one we want to focus on. How did a convicted sex offender maintain what appears to have been an ongoing, maybe even advisory relationship with a senior member of the British royal family after his conviction? Why do some of these documents seemingly reference communications that touch on sensitive government matters? And why are these questions being asked seriously now? Oh, and by the way, with all this coming out about Andrew, in another stunning development, the palace has now responded. King Charles III has issued a statement, a move that marks a notable shift in tone and strategy. So that's what we want to get into, and we're going to get into it right now. So for decades, it was clear from all of the material.
You guys, wait till you see all the pictures that there is of, I don't know if this is blacked out because it's an underage girl, but you have this, there's just so many that I just saw today for the first time.
Materials and evidence so
and
far.
I was like,
Jeffrey
what the?
Epstein moved easily through elite circles, hosting lavish gatherings, cultivating influential relationships, presenting himself as a man of extraordinary access. But in 2008, that facade cracked. That is when Epstein pled guilty to Florida state charges, one count of soliciting prostitution and one count of soliciting prostitution.
Does anybody know if Pam Bondi was the one that was like in the, what would it be, the DA's office or whatever it was at the time? Because that's what I was told.
From someone under the age of 18. And as part of this sweetheart deal that you hear so much about, he served just 13 months. He was able to avoid federal charges. It was a work release program, remember that? And again,
which means that he was able to leave the jail for so many hours a day if it was work release. I had a friend that literally had like 5 DUIs. So he had to do time, like 8 months or something, but he was on a work release program. So he only went to the jail pretty much to sleep.
Very, very controversial. And it seems that even after that happened, even after what he was accused of, even after what he pled guilty to, yes, there were people who severed ties with him. We can see that. But not everybody. One of the figures who did not publicly distance himself was Prince Andrew. Andrew's association with Epstein dated back to at least the 1990s, introduced through Epstein's longtime associate.
Do you guys think that his relationship with Andrew didn't cease because Andrew was afraid of, like coercive control, right? Like, you know, I have to be nice to this person because they have alleged information that could really hurt me.
See Ghislaine Maxwell, who, as we know, was already convicted of her own sex trafficking charges, sentenced to 20 years in prison. But there was documentation between Epstein and Andrew. For example, there was a photograph of the two of them walking together in Central Park, reports of Andrew staying at Epstein's Manhattan mansion, accounts of Epstein visiting royal property. For years, this relationship was framed as a serious lapse in judgment and embarrassment, but ultimately just a personal mistake. That seemed to change a little bit in 2015. Why? Because it was that year that Virginia Giuffre, this apparent survivor of Jeffrey Epstein, went public with a civil lawsuit. And
you guys, am I correct in saying that Virginia Giuffre is the one who, unfortunately, takes her own life? If so, think about that. Like, think about, I always say, like, when we think about trauma, we often think about the victim, which is amazing. That's what you're supposed to do. But we don't always pan out a little further to look at the victim's family and friends, right? So how many people does now, so it's not just what he did to her, but then ultimately she winds up taking her own life. So, I mean, this just has so many effects. And from what I've read, Ghislaine doesn't, like, she's not very remorseful. I don't know if she thinks that that means that she'll look guilty or something, but that's so telling.
She alleged that Epstein and Maxwell trafficked her and that she was forced to have sex with Andrew on 3 occasions, including when she was 17. And her allegations were detailed, they were specific. Now, to be clear, Andrew categorically denied them, denying not only the allegations, but even ever meeting Joffrey. It's complicated by the fact that there was a photograph of apparently the two of them together that has been widely circulated, although he seemed to suggest, per the BBC, that he thought that photo might have been doctored or fake in some way. But again, he was never...
Wait, can I tell you why he said it was fake, you guys? Because he said that he's sweating or something in the... Or something about sweating, and he said that it's impossible because he had his sweat glands removed or something. But look who else is here. Ghislaine.
Yes, per the BBC, that he thought that photo might have been doctored or fake in some way. But again, he was never brought up on any kind of criminal charges with respect to this or anything to do with Epstein. You fast forward to 2019. Andrew attempted to counter the narrative publicly in a now infamous BBC Newsnight interview. Instead, I would just say probably proved to be a little more
Glenn, amen to that, Glenn. Glenn said, what if she didn't take her own life? Like, look at all the things that are happening right now. Ember Burns, please forgive us for the craziness of tonight's live. Hopefully you don't go all the way back because it's a big fail. Unless, like, you laugh with the live chat. But other than that, you came in at a good time.
Problematic than he thought it would be. His explanations came under a lot of scrutiny, like the claim that, hey, I couldn't have done anything with Joffrey because I was at a Pizza Express that evening at a children's party. Or remember when he tried to refute Joffrey's claim that he was sweating heavily dancing at a bar with her because he said he has this or he had this obscure medical condition or he didn't sweat? Yeah. So what happens? Queen Elizabeth forced her son to step back from public duties. His charges in New York. 1 month later, he died in his jail cell. But that wasn't the end of it. No, the legal reckoning didn't end with his death. 2021, Virginia Giuffre filed a civil lawsuit against Prince Andrew, then Prince Andrew, in U.S. federal court. And facing the prospect of a very public trial, Andrew reportedly settled the case in 2022 for an undisclosed sum directed to Giuffre's charity. Now, the settlement included apparently no admission of liability, but it did cement Andrew's isolation. He seemingly withdrew almost entirely from public life, seemingly was living a quiet life at Royal Lodge in Windsor, and for a time it appeared the story maybe reached its conclusion. Not quite. For years, the U.S. Department of Justice, the DOJ, held an enormous cache of investigative material from the Epstein case, victim statements, flight logs, tens of thousands of communications. And in late 2025, the Epstein Files Transparency Act forced the DOJ to begin releasing those records. Again, all the Epstein investigative materials in their possession, something that we've been covering religiously here on Sidebar. And the release was staggering. Millions of pages. This wasn't interpretation, this wasn't rumor, it was raw material to be examined. And as we looked at these files, there was one set of documents that stood out. These email communications between Epstein and a contact identified as the...
That is so horrible right there. Like the fact that it's bad enough that he did all these horrible things, but he's just so open. Look how hard he's squeezing her arm. Literally, look how hard.
The Duke. Messages dated 2010 after, again, Epstein's conviction, discussing dinner plans, introductions, and most strikingly, emails in which Andrew allegedly appeared to forward official visit reports from a government trade mission in Southeast Asia directly to Epstein. Because at one point, Andrew was the UK trade envoy. So this shifted the story fundamentally because these were time-stamped records suggesting an ongoing functional relationship between this convicted sex offender and a senior royal. So the consequences followed quickly in October of 2025. As Joffrey's posthumous memoir renewed scrutiny and pressure mounted, King Charles took unprecedented action. He initiated the formal process to strip his brother of his remaining style, titles, honors. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor was no longer a prince, no longer a duke. He was removed from Royal Lodge, relocated to a smaller residence on the Sandringham estate, and then came the legal shockwave.
So you guys, I'm assuming everybody agrees with all of his demotions. I assume that you do.
Disclosure of the trade mission documents prompted a formal complaint to British authorities alleging a potential breach of the Official Secrets Act, legislation designed to protect sensitive government information. And the Thames Valley Police has now confirmed that they are assessing the materials. So for the first time, Andrew was not simply...
Oh my God, good point. Good point. Diane says he should have went to jail. I don't know why I didn't think that. Wow. Oh wait, what is this? It says you have enough jewels for a gift. Send. What does that mean? Oh, is that to me? Oh my God, I'm on my...
confronting public disgrace or civil litigation, he was facing the possibility of much more serious legal scrutiny. Potentially, are we talking a crime? And that is where the story stands now. So what began as a controversial friendship evolved into a public reckoning, a legal settlement, the loss of royal status, and now a police assessment triggered not by rumor, but by seemingly documentary evidence emerging from a U.S. court-ordered release. And the ground has shifted completely. So with the police now assessing this, what does that actually mean? More importantly, what are they looking for? This isn't about relitigating Virginia Giuffre's allegations. That was a civil lawsuit. It's been settled. This is something different. This is about documents that we haven't really talked about before. Andrew's official role. So in 2010, when many of those emails were sent, Andrew wasn't just the Duke of York. He was appointed the UK's special representative for international trade and investment. And this complaint that sparked this police assessment focuses on emails where he appears to send confidential visit reports from official trips to Epstein. And that moves the issue from personal conduct to alleged potential misconduct in public office. So to understand the stakes, to understand what we're talking...
You guys, guess what? Diane's probably right. You know what I mean? Like, so now we're not even just looking at his allegations with these underage girls. So I was thinking more of his personal life, and then to think of it on this public realm, that is so interesting. And welcome in everybody that's coming in. I apologize for the crazy setup. We're using the audio from my phone with the camera pointed at my computer. It's just a big mess, but we're just going with it for now.
Understand what we're talking about here, the Official Secrets Act. Think of it kind of as the UK's main law against government leaks. For someone in Andrew's position at the time, it can be a crime to make a damaging disclosure of protected information without authorization. What counts as protected information? Things like security secrets, defense plans. Crucially here, international relations. Those trade reports from Southeast Asia, they're all about diplomacy and international deals. That's
a wise woman. What do you mean he disguised a lot of this with modeling offers? Who? Jeffrey? Or you're not talking about Prince Andrew, right? Jeffrey, I'm assuming.
The international relations category that seemingly we're talking about. So the core question for police now is this. Could sharing, or allegedly sharing, those official documents with a private foreign citizen, especially one with Jeffrey Epstein's background and connections, can that be seen as a damaging disclosure that harmed the UK's interests? That's the legal question. That's what they're assessing. So it is critical to kind of be precise about what is happening here, right? So the police...
So I guess let me tell you this. Or not tell you, this is my idea here. I guess the point there too is... You've now put yourself in a position, allegedly, where you can be bribed. If somebody ever gets a hold of a video, a picture, that picture, right, of her, let's say a foreign leader from an adverse country, had that picture, whatever, I'm just making this up. The point being, it could then be used as leverage over someone like a Prince Andrew. So in that sense, absolutely, it then can hurt your country as a whole.
Statement says that they are, quote, assessing the information. This isn't an abstract concept. The same document dump triggered a separate active police investigation into former British ambassador to the United States, Peter Mandelson, over similar allegations of sharing sensitive information with Epstein, on top of the fact that he just had apparently weird communications with the guy. But the precedent is being set, okay? So I want to dive into this. I want to get into the emails. We're going to coin these the Invisible Man emails.
All right,
How's
let's
LA?
get them.
Have you found me some new...
So these emails are from, it says The Invisible Man to Ghislaine Maxwell.
Inappropriate friends, let me know when you are coming over, as I am free from the 25th of August until the 2nd of September, I want to go somewhere hot and sunny with some fun people before having to put my nose firmly to the grindstone for the fall. Any ideas greatly received. See ya, A, XXX. And remember, when we talk about girls, Prince Andrew has 2 daughters.
Okay. A, XXXX. Andrew.
In a separate...
What is that hat? Like, really? I remember this back in the day.
Oh, any ideas? Remember, when we talk about girl...
Like, what? Oh, my God.
Prince Andrew has 2 daughters.
Down.
Okay. In a separate August 2001 exchange, Maxwell tells the same sender that she has only been able to find appropriate friends, writing, "So sorry to disappoint you. However, the truth must be told. I have only been able to find appropriate friends. We'll let you know about some church meetings on those dates. Kisses, GX." And the sender responds, distraught. "You probably wouldn't know, but I lost my valet on Thursday. He died in his sleep. He had been with me since I was 2. I'm a little off balance, as not only has my office been restructured, I have left the RN, and now my whole life is in turmoil as I have no one to look after me. He was a real rock and almost a part of the family. If you have any good ideas as to how to get my mind back on track, I'd be grateful for advice. See you real soon. I hope if you are coming over, A, XXX."
Wait, who died in their sleep?
Got another email from February 2002, so the same sender discusses apparent travel plans to Peru and writes, "As far as girls, well, I leave that entirely to you and Juan Esteban." And that message appears in a longer thread that includes a third party, Juan Esteban Ganoza, who writes to Maxwell discussing sightseeing and activities and social arrangements and asks about the girls. How old is he? I doubt it that he will find someone, but we can try. In a further email from March of 2002, Maxwell writes to the same address stating, "I just gave Andrew your telephone number. He is interested in seeing the Nazca lines. He can ride, but it is not his favorite sport, i.e. pass on the horses. Some sightseeing, some 2-legged sightseeing, red intelligent, pretty fun, and from good families, and he will be very happy. I know I can rely on you to show him a wonderful time, and that you will only introduce him to friends that you can trust and rely on to be friendly and discreet."
Okay. Excuse me. Let me tell you what's so gross about this. The fact that she wrote, "I know I can rely on you to show him a wonderful time, and that you will only introduce him to friends that you can trust and rely on to be friendly and discreet." What she's saying right there is, I'm putting, like, by saying, I trust you to do this, and I know that you'll be able to do this, especially if this is a young girl. This is like coercion. Ew, this is so disgusting to me. And then she says, she's pretty much saying to her, "I know I can rely on you to show up with you and your girlfriends. Just make sure they're young and hot and that they're going to be quiet." What?
And fun. He does not want to read about any trip in the papers, whom or what he saw. Call me if you have any questions. Otherwise, you can expect a very English-sounding gentleman on the phone to call up and say hi. I told him it would be best if he made his plans directly with you. The only part that I'm jealous about is that he will get to see you and that he will be in Peru and have you as his tour guide for a day. Bezos, GX.
What?
So those emails don't include...
So then she makes it sound like she's jealous of this person. Like, you're so lucky. And again, if she could change places with her, she never would.
Explicit descriptions of illegal activity per se, and the release doesn't identify the sender by name, kind of see why it's questionable, right?
Yes,
and the documents
evil.
also don't establish whether any of those plans were carried out. But again, a little strange, because what they do provide is kind of this contemporaneous written communication showing Maxwell discussing introductions and travel and, discrete social arrangements, potentially involving Andrew, during the same period that were referenced in later allegations. Now you go back to 2010, okay?
Wow.
August 2010. So this is about 2 years after Epstein pled guilty, right? 2008. And the Epstein emails...
And what he's talking about is that first trial where he does, what was it, 18 months or something, and it's whatever he did, he wasn't able to get prosecuted federally and all this other stuff. But everybody, please go to Law and Crime Sidebar with Jesse and go sign up. I forgot to say that. Subscribe is what I meant. And
contact identified.
And make sure you like mine if you haven't yet.
He writes, "I have
Please.
a friend who I think you might enjoy having dinner with. She will be in London 2024. The next morning, the Duke replies, 'Of course. I am in Geneva until the morning of the 22nd, but would be delighted to see her. Will she be bringing a message from you? Please give her my contact details to get in touch. A month later, in late September 2010, the email thread continues again between Epstein and the Duke address, and in that exchange, Epstein writes, already in London, what time would you like me and redacted name? We will also need to have private time. The Duke appears to respond, alternatively, we could have dinner at Buckingham Palace and lots of privacy. Epstein replies, BP, please. Epstein then adds, I want...
BP. What's that?
Private time with you. However, I am here with redacted
and
lots of privacy. Epstein replies, BP, please. Epstein then adds, I want private time with you. However, I am here with redacted. Should I bring them all so as to add some life? The Duke responds, yes. Plenty of space here for chat. Bring them. December 2010, there's another message from the Duke to Epstein, framed as a holiday note with an attachment.
Now think about that. Now you're Jeffrey Epstein and you have these younger girls, and a lot of these girls are from a lower socioeconomic class. Like, they would have probably been me and my friends growing up. Like, they literally went into neighborhoods where they found people who, I don't know that I would have, honestly, like, I feel like my mom and dad were, I don't know, my mom was a narcissist herself. I feel like she might have seen through them. But I have plenty of friends that I could see getting sucked into this when we were younger. I might have too. Who knows? And just never told my parents. I don't know. I can't say. I'm not in the situation. But imagine you're 17. In your head, you're like, or even 16. But in your head, you're like, I'm almost 18. And wait, Buckingham Palace? Like, I could go to Buckingham Palace? And how many of the girls went not even realizing the things that they were going to be expected to do? I don't know. This is so gross.
And the text includes, it was great to spend time with my U.S. family. Looking forward to joining you all again soon. I'll call you tomorrow as I am moving the family up to Sandringham during the day. Now, around the same time period, there was another email from the Duke to Epstein that includes this line. Jay, Kate has agreed to a deal in London. It's down to bring you over the line. God, it's cold and dank here. Wish I was still a pet in your family. Also, dated November 3rd.
Wait, what the hell did that mean? He didn't even explain it. Can we try to do this? It's to G vacation. So G, I was saying G like the way it sounded out, but it's JEE vacation. So J, period. And the title is Troublesome One. Kate has agreed to a deal in London. It's down to you to bring Jay over the line. And this is from the Duke. God, it's cold and dank here. Wish I was still a pet in your family. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Cold and dank here. Wish I was
Jeffrey,
still a pet in your family. Also, dated November 3rd, 2010, the release includes an email sent to Andrew by his special advisor, Amit Patel, and it reads, Sir, please find attached the visit reports for Vietnam, Singapore, Hong Kong, and Shenzhen in relation to your recent visit to Southeast Asia. And that email is relevant because it references official trip materials that were generated during Andrew's tenure as the UK Special Representative for International Trade and Investment. So you go to October of 2013, and Epstein emails, or appears to email, Andrew's aide, David Stern, and the email reads, I have a very beautiful friend coming to London on Tuesday. Andrew might want to have her for a dinner. So the record here reflects communications about introductions and dinner plans continuing after Epstein's conviction. We don't know who these people are, the ages, anything like that. But again, see why it doesn't look right? Then you go to April 2017, and Epstein emails a business contact with an offer that seems to reference Windsor Castle. Do you want a dinner invite at Windsor Castle with the top Chinese biz people? May 26th. So that email on its face.
So right there, you guys, what I just said before is 100% the truth. In other words, now Epstein has all this dirt on Prince Andrew. And so now he's like getting an invite to the Windsor Castle to meet with top Chinese business people. And he's also like sending it to, like, to invite others. Like, I don't know, but do you see how, like, how he used coercion? That's the thing with coercive control. The person doesn't necessarily have to be like, and he was, I think, very sadistic in many ways. But I mean, you could also, with coercive control, you could be very, like, chill and, like, make it seem like it's the other person. With gaslighting, we all know gaslighting.
Shows that Epstein is presenting himself as somebody able to extend access to that setting.
Yeah.
That same release also includes photographs, and you've probably seen these here, describing reporting on showing Andrew on the floor with an unidentified person. The images are undated. The release doesn't provide captions or context. Reporting has noted that the images and the email messages do not by themselves establish wrongdoing, although it is very strange to see this. And we're going to keep that standard here as well. But again, strange. Now, the reason these documents are being examined now is not only the social contact, but it's also Andrew's role at the time. Because in 2010, he held that position, right, the special representative. And again, this role connected to official government travel and meetings. In this document set, there are references to what I mentioned before, visit reports and trip materials that appear to have been forwarded to Epstein. That is the core of the complaint that has led the Thames Valley Police.
Wow, you guys, that is huge. I wonder, wow, that's like political. Like, I wonder how much even like citizens have been hurt by this because of things like using, you know, your bad acts against you, or, you know, or not even you better. That's what Epstein was good at. He didn't have to like threaten. He just had to be like, you know, I need to use Buckingham, or is Buckingham open? Something like that. And, you know, and just knowing that I have videos of you, or I know all this stuff about you, like, then how do you turn that down?
To say they're assessing the information. And the document release also includes material from 2015, which directly relates to, again, that long disputed claim by Virginia Giuffre that she met Andrew and was photographed with him in London in 2001. So you have one document. It is a draft statement sent in January of 2015 from an email address identified as Ghislaine Maxwell to Epstein. And the email is labeled draft statement, and it includes the following passage, quote, "In 2001, I was in London when, redacted, met a number of friends of mine, including Prince Andrew. A photograph was taken as I imagined she wanted to show it to friends and family. I never asked redacted to give him a massage." So Giuffre has alleged that she was the person in that photograph. And then you have a separate email from the same period where Maxwell appears to write Epstein, "I have to distance myself from you in statement 2, and they need me to say I was not aware of massage with Andrew in my house." So the release...
What? This is from Ghislaine to Jeffrey? I have to distance myself from you in statement 2. And they need me to say I was not aware of massage with Andrew in my house. These things, they have to stay along with meeting blank and rebutting those allegations. I need it ASAP. What?
They need me to say I was not aware of massage with Andrew in my house. So the release also includes a 2011 internal draft response that was forwarded by Andrew, or allegedly by Andrew, to his staff, which states, quote, "There are 2 competing issues to deal with. 1 is to clearly state that this is fabrication, and 2, to distance me from any of this if you can." Now, Andrew has consistently denied Giuffre's allegations, as I mentioned.
Oh my God, who was that one from? So this was to the whatever that was, what did they think that's Jeffrey or whatever? From the Duke. This is what is suggested. Make any changes that suit you both, that make it relevant to your particular cases. There's 2 competing issues to deal with. 1 is to clearly state this as a fabrication, and 2, to distance me from any of this, if you can. And his mom was the queen then, so like, oh my God.
Andrew has consistently denied Joffrey's allegations. As I mentioned, denied ever meeting her. In that 2019 BBC interview, he questioned the authenticity of that photograph. In 2022, he settles that law.
Glenn, some of it is new to me. This stuff right here, yes, this is new to me. I think I knew what was happening as a whole. I knew that there's a Palm Beach and there's a island. I know all the things like there, but, and I know like, you know, I know about like the ins and outs a little bit, but no, clearly I know nothing. I thought I knew stuff, but clearly I don't. There's so much.
Lawsuit. And just this as an aside to all of this, the document release also includes email exchanges involving Peter Mendelsohn. I mentioned him before, the senior UK politician. And this is in correspondence with Jeffrey Epstein. So you have one email dated July 22nd, 2009. So this is the same day that Epstein was apparently released from prison following his 2008 conviction. And in that exchange, Mendelsohn writes to Epstein from a BlackBerry device, "How is freedom feeling?" Epstein replies earlier the same day, "She feels fresh, firm, and creamy."
Ew.
Later that day, Mendelsohn sends a follow-up message, "Naughty boy." So...
What? Ew. How is freedom feeling? She feels fresh, firm, and creamy. What the actual? Oh, he is all the way gross. All the way.
Later that day, Mendelsohn sends a follow-up message, "Naughty boy." So the release files include also later communications in which
I agree too.
Mendelsohn appears to forward or reference government-related material to Jeffrey Epstein, including a message describing as an interesting note that had gone to the Prime Minister. This is the allegation. Now, the documents do not, on their face, establish any kind of criminal conduct. However, these communications are referenced in reporting as the basis for a separate police investigation into Mendelsohn concerning potential misconduct in public office. So we just walked through the timeline, right? We've seen the Invisible Man emails from the early 2000s, Inappropriate Friends. We've read the invite to Buckingham Palace for private time. We've seen the reference to being a pet in Epstein's family. We've seen the 2013...
Yeah, what do you guys think that means about being a pet in Epstein's family? Like, what did he mean by that?
Request for a dinner intro, the 2017 offer of a Windsor Castle dinner, and crucially, we've seen the paper trail around Andrew's official role, right? The visit reports, the itineraries. This is the evidence that the Thames Valley Police are now assessing, or it looks like they are. Not as gossip, but as a potential serious violation. And I want to bring it back to the Official Secrets Act. Remember, the core question, damaging disclosure. So looking at these documents through that legal lens changes the framing. It's not just, was it wrong for a prince to be friends with Epstein, right? The question becomes, did a crown servant, the UK's Special Representative for International Trade, improperly share protected government information about international relations with a private foreign citizen? This is also why Mandelson's parallel is so critical, because the allegations are strikingly similar. A senior government figure allegedly sharing information with the same private individuals. So facing all of this, the royal family began to voice its position. First, you had Prince William and Princess Kate's spokesperson say, "I can confirm the Prince and Princess of Wales have been deeply concerned by the continued revelations. Their thoughts remain focused on the victims." Then...
Oh, that was good. That was the right thing to say for sure.
Prince Edward gave a similar statement, also
I forgot there was a Prince Edward.
Expressing that the family was
Not forgot, but I mean, you don't hear
thoughts and sympathies have been and remain with the victims. But these were expressions of sympathy and personal dismay. They were not addressing the new legal dimension. And with the legal pressure building and the documentary evidence now public, King Charles broke the family's official silence on behalf of the monarchy itself. In a statement issued by Buckingham Palace, the king said, and I'm quoting here, "The king has made clear in words and through unprecedented actions his profound concern at allegations which continue to come to light in respect of Mr. Mountbatten Windsor's conduct. While the specific claims in question are for Mr. Mountbatten Windsor to address, if we are approached by Thames Valley Police, we stand ready to support them as you would expect."
Oh my God. You guys, the king called his brother Mr. Mountbatten Windsor. Oh, that must feel that good. That's the least that could happen.
Major statement there. That's all we have for you right now here on...
That was crazy. Yeah, you guys definitely go to Jesse from Law and Crime. How long have we been on here for? Let's see. What are you guys doing? How you doing over here? Let me look and see. I can't read the chat on my phone because... Oh wait, Sarah Ferguson trying to sell out her daughters to the sicko disgusts me. Wait, what, Jess? What? Oh my God. I'm flabbergasted too. And then I saw this. Wait till you see this real quick. It's only 11 minutes, and I'll speed it up a tiny bit.
Alfredo, how are you? Nice to meet you. Come on in. How are you? Good.
I'll wait.
You have the documents with you?
I have it. I have a friend over there. I just want to see that you have everything so we can...
Absolutely. You have a friend right out here?
Yeah, no, he's in the car.
So this is TMZ, you guys.
Okay, I just want to talk to you, though.
No. He's not going to come in.
Okay. All right, let me grab it. I'll show you.
What you just saw there is a bombshell video of an FBI sting operation released by the DOJ featuring Epstein's old butler, Alfredo Rodriguez. In this video, it looks like Rodriguez believes he is selling a personal notebook of Epstein's to someone representing a lawyer of Epstein's victims. Now, Rodriguez claims the contents of this book is full of the names and contact information of wealthy businessmen with whom Jeffrey Epstein was associated. Take a look at some of the shocking clips we have from this video and notice when Rodriguez mentions Ghislaine Maxwell allegedly being in possession of a database including naked underage girls.
What? Oh my God, you guys, it says credit Department of Justice. So I'm giving credit to TMZ, of course, but this must be listed, like this must be one of the things in that there's literally 3 million documents and downloads and stuff.
What is interesting in this massage project, the numbers that they goes, and when I got the subpoena, we had my right down to the garbage. You will see a lot of important people here, but let me just show you the
What?
personal secretary texting, her address in New York, emails, all of this they asked me, I don't remember. They used to have the computer so powerful, they used to have a word that needed to cool the computer because they used to download pictures like that so fast. She had nice press, she had this and that.
You saw that stuff on the computer? Yeah, pictures of the girls?
Wait, who is he talking to?
I did stuff like that.
Yeah, I testify that.
You testified? Yeah. Okay.
But I couldn't prove that. That's why they need the guy that fixes the Citrix systems. He needs to hire. I'm going to be.
What?
Rodriguez was subsequently arrested for failing to turn over the book to authorities and eventually pleaded guilty to obstruction charges, and Rodriguez later passed away in 2016. And as time goes...
Wait, does that mean that the book, like, he said that he went to jail for not... Wait, let me repeat that. He said he went to jail for not disclosing the book, right? But then dies. But did anybody ever find the book?
For failing to turn over the book to authorities and eventually pleaded guilty to obstruction charges, and Rodriguez later passed away in 2016.
Wow.
And as time goes on, the internet continues to uncover more shocking files released by the DOJ, such as one referencing cloning babies, but I will get into that later. What I want to talk about now is a statement on the Pam Bondi hearing that was posted on the...
All right, wait, hold on. Let me see, because I don't want to use all of this video. So I'm going to skip this one. I've watched so much about that. It's like driving me crazy. So I'm going to skip that part. And then we're going to go to the cloning babies part because this is the deal. We have the ability to clone like animals and stuff. Oh, I kind of do want to watch some of this, but I don't know. Here, we'll just stop it at a random thing. Ready? Stop. All right, this is where we'll pick up from.
Not looking for that. They were looking for answers about the corruption that they see coming from this administration. In the written testimony of this witness, she stated that when she took office, she had two main goals. The first was to end the weaponization of justice, and second, to return the department to its core mission. Not only have you lied about both.
I don't want to get like political about this, but I want to show you the clone baby thing.
Convicted, homicide, arson, weapon offense.
Convicted. So what we talking about? Convict some of these perpetrators that rape these women that are sitting behind you, that you refuse to even acknowledge they are here.
And as I mentioned previously in the video, the internet continues to uncover more shocking files released by the DOJ. In this one, a man that goes by the name of Brian Bishop sent an email to Epstein that reads, "Attached is the doc you requested. It's the use of funds spreadsheet for the designer baby and human cloning company. This gets us out of our self-funded garage biology phase to the first live birth of a human designer baby and possibly a human clone within 5 years. Once we reach the first birth, everything changes and the world will never be the same again, much less the future of the human species." Another email in the files alleged again.
Wait, what?
The first birth, everything changed.
What? Wait, hold on. This gets us out of our self-funded to the first birth of human designer baby. You guys, so I teach about this in school. So the designer baby, just so everybody knows, there's actually a program that you could do now where you could, if you want your kid to have blue eyes versus brown eyes, stuff like that, like there are things that could be done. For like, you just have to mess, not just, but like you mess with like the recessive and dominant genes, things like that. So, but the problem here is that the only people that are able to use these genetic, like superhumans, that I mean they would be able to detect disease and stuff, like all kinds of stuff. The problem is the only people that would be able to do this, there are rich people. So then if you think about that and you think about like evolution and stuff, if the rich people are creating superhumans, right? And then those superhumans are obviously superhuman, so they're going to excel at all the things, which is going to further divide that class from everyone else. And then they might continue to, so on and so forth. And then cloning babies. So this is when Congress and stuff joined in and was like, no, we're not doing that. So there are rules and regulations around this. But I know that there's like, you could legally get like your dog cloned, stuff like that. Would you guys ever clone your dog? Let me know. Because remember, when you clone the dog, what people tend to forget, and I think that this is like good for studies, but so the dog might have the exact same DNA makeup, but if they're in a different environment, and it's going to be a different environment, my environment today is different than my environment tomorrow, like for better or worse, just different. So that different environment is going to shape the personality and the health and everything else of that animal. So my hesitation, other than what the F is, you might do that and then still be just as upset about your dog dying because the dog doesn't remind you of your dog anymore. Like it doesn't respond the same way that your other dog did and stuff like that. Because so I think when people think of cloning, they think that you're going to get the same personality characteristics. And we also have to remember that our personalities, dogs' personalities, they're shaped by things like rewards and punishments. So let's say you grew up in a house where you were punished for everything that you did. That clearly is going to shape your behavior different than someone who has free reign of the house and pretty much is like you know what I mean? And of course, the ideal is somewhere in the middle. Have rules and regulations, but communication. But yeah, wow.
Changes. And the world.
So I guess what I'm saying is cloning a human doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to create that exact same human. A lot of it's going to have to do with, like, take somebody with a personality disorder. Had they had a different environment, could their life have turned out a little bit different? And who knows? But I don't know. I think that wherever there's something big and powerful, or there's always those people that take it to an extreme. Even with research, I teach about research, extremes in research too. And everything from the twin studies, there's documentary called Three Identical Strangers. It's on Netflix right now if anyone has it. It is so good. It's a documentary about three identical strangers. They were given up at birth. And then Louise Wise Services in New York and the Board of Jewish something and Guardians and the NIH. You have no idea. You should watch it. It's crazy. But these guys only meet each other because the one is at a community college. And apparently I'm like, I would love this community college. They have a community college wherever they were at growing up that has dorms. I was like, wait, what? So the one guy, he's like taking a semester off. And then the other brother, they don't know each other, decides to go to the school and stay. So when he shows up, all the kids he said they were like, I guess the one brother that took a semester off was like really popular. So he said girls were like kissing him on the mouth. Guys were like slapping him on the butt and stuff like, hey, what's up? Like, Eddie, I thought you weren't coming back to school. Hey, Eddie. And he's like, I was just like, he's like, I didn't even know what to say. So he went in his room, his dorm room, and like shut the door. And he said all of a sudden this guy came in. Here it was Eddie's best friend. So he knew that Eddie wasn't coming back this semester. He had just talked to Eddie on the phone. So, but he heard about this. So he was like, yeah, because Eddie was like, can you go see what this is about? So he comes down and he's like, my face. So he's like part of the documentary. It's crazy. So they wind up like driving there that night. And there's a picture of them when they open the door. And it is crazy. They both have the exact same haircut. They're wearing the exact same outfit. They both have on jeans. They both have on white t-shirts. They literally are identical. And then like the New York Post and everything and the New York Times or whatever, they all picked up on the story. And then it went from like crazy to even crazier because the third one was coming home from school and he said he came in and his mother threw she was drinking her coffee and she threw down the paper and said, "Do you see this?" And he was like, "What?" And he picked it up and he was like, "I saw like two of me." He's like, he got in touch with Bobby's mom. That was the one brother. And they interview her. She's in it. And they said that she was so surprised she dropped the phone and all he could hear was her say, "They're coming out of the woodwork like roaches." And then they meet and so on and so forth. But it's not necessarily always a happy ending. And they don't necessarily have the happiest of endings either. They wind up becoming the bestest of friends. They open up a restaurant together. But, things get rough. And I don't want to ruin it for anybody. It's really that good. You should go watch it.
Will never be the same.
But we can't do those things anymore in research because the American Psychological Association created ethics in research that we have to abide by for human and animal research.
Again, much less the future of the human species. Another email in the files, allegedly sent from Jeffrey Epstein to a man named Barnaby Marshy, reads, "Should we build a mind reader? It would use de-encryption, new understandings of the brain. Can we involve the New York ACAD of Sciences in one of our projects? I think it would be good for you as well as them. Should we do a project on tissue regeneration?" And in parentheses it says, "Cloning. I'm excited to accompany you as a voyeur on Madarin's adventure." This gives the public a peek into what Epstein was possibly interested in outside the world of finance. Now, as each day goes on, people come up with new theories and new opinions regarding the DOJ's release of the Epstein files, and the public continues to dig through the millions of redacted documents that the DOJ has released, along with lawmakers doing the same thing.
So the point there is that this is going to be going on for a long time, you guys, because there are so many. Wait, how do I turn my camera around? Hold on. Flip. Hold on. Flip. Oh my God. There we go. There are. I'm showing my bubbles again. This shirt is too big, clearly. I need to put this one away. But anyway, so I don't even know what the frig I was just going to say, you guys. Oh, yes, I do. There's 3 million files, which means that it's going to take a long time to go through all 3 million, which is why we find new things every day. Ooh, I'm like a mess. What is happening? But anyway, that's why we find new things every day. So I'm curious to see, like, have any of you been looking at it? Because we all have access to, if you go to the Department of Justice website, or you just Google the Epstein files, it takes you, like, make sure you look in the one that says www with the, .gov and stuff. That's the one you want to go to. And everybody has access to it. So there's a search bar. And the other day I was just searching, and I think on the live the one day, right? I was asking people, like, what would you search? And we were searching some things. You guys, there is so much. I'm like, I don't know. And it's like addicting, because you'll sit there and you'll start like going through it, and then you're like, all right, just one more document. Not you, me. Clearly I'm talking about myself. I'm projecting. But I'll be like, all right, just one more, just one more, just one more. It doesn't usually turn out like that. You know what I mean? I don't know. You guys, I don't know how to like fix all this stuff on here. I apologize for any craziness. And I just realized that because I used my iPhone, it's taping this way instead of this way. Like all of us old people, like, we all like it the 16:9, right? And this is like the young people way. It's got to look good on the cell phone. You know what I mean? But anyway, you guys, it's 3 a.m. And you guys have been with me for, I don't even know how long, but a long time. Let me see. I could tell over here.
And as the months continue to and impeach, but that...
All right, here we go. I'm going to look real quick. Let's see. Oh, God forbid my computer was quick. All right, here we go. So you guys have... Oh, it's not even telling me, so forget that. So I don't know how long we've been on here, but then we were on, an hour and 46 minutes. And we were on the other one for a minute, and then another one for a minute, and another one for a minute, and then I went live with Daniel for a minute. And then I worked for a few minutes. And now I need to go to bed for a few minutes. Makes sense? You guys, I'm going crazy, I swear to God. I do want to still try to go live, like, earlier, just to see, get more people involved. People are available at different times. So we'll see what happens. Just make sure you go to your notifications, the bell thingy, and hit all, so that, and if you're at work, you maybe just, like, listen and just tell the chat you're there, but you can't really engage today type thing. Oh my God, why does it look like I have a... I can't with these phones and all the pictures and the 4D, 5D. Wait, why does it look like my forehead's swollen though? That doesn't even look like it's a... It like looks swollen right there. Whatever. It is what it is. The truth, I know. It's perimenopause. I get it. Okay? I get it. All right, you guys. So this is the deal. Tomorrow. What's tomorrow? Friday? It's Friday already? What the heck? So, yeah, I'll be back. Of course I will. You know I will. Tell me what... Oh, I think we should continue with this because hopefully I'll have everything figured out with the audio. I better have everything figured out with the audio. And I think that this is important, but I'm going to try to, like, I don't know, make it... I don't know. I'm talking to myself now. I'll see you guys. I love you all. You all have a fabulous day tomorrow and have a fabulous evening tonight. And make sure you go to bed if you're still awake. And I don't know what time it is for you. For some of you, it's like midnight. So that's not that bad. If you go to bed now, get a good night's sleep. For those of you where it's 3 a.m., we should have been in bed already. But it's okay. We could go to sleep now. So I love all of you. I thank you all for being here. Thank you to Flojo, Addie, Cuff You. Wait, who else? look even better so that I could thank you even better later, because it's not letting me scroll all the way back. And I don't like that, but it is even better later because it's not. Good night, everyone. Oh, wait, I don't even know how to shut this off, so we might be together for a minute. Who the hell knows? Let me try to end it on the computer.